There are moments in drag racing that happen in the blink of an eye. During these 6-second races at speeds of 200 miles an hour, the functions of the motorcycle and reactions of the rider are what stands between success and failure. No one knows this better than NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle racers Angel Sampé, Andrew Hines, and Eddie Krawick, who are known for their ability to consistently push their bikes and themselves to the limit. In this episode of Science of Speed, we will look into the mental and physical techniques used by top racers and analyze their reaction times and see how focus, consistency, and lightning-fast reflexes wins races. The riders will then test one of the fastest bikes Harley-Davidson has ever made and see how the introduction of EV technology may make the world's fastest riders even faster and could even change the world of drag racing forever. There are few forms of competition more telling than drag racing. Speed is key during the short head-to-head battles. Not just the speed of the motorcycle, but the speed of the person riding it.
For us, it's about repetition and doing the exact same thing. Being a machine is the way we explain it. And if you can't do that, it makes it that much harder to get everything right.
You get that sensory overload of sound and speed and feel and acceleration and G-force. And you don't have time to process it. Everything happens so fast on the run. 200 miles an hour, under 7 seconds in a quarter mile. And you don't even realize your heart is beating as fast as it is. You make the turn off at the end of the track, you start taking your safety gear off, and then you realize that the adrenaline is coursing through your veins, and you're thinking, what did I just do? But I want to do it again.
Angel's 001 of the Christmas tree. Angel grabs her first win in nearly half a decade. Pro-level stop, 688.0 at 196.
So when you make a good pass, you know it right away, because when you're on the starting line, when you drop that clutch, the bike just basically squats down and takes off, goes 0 to 60 in 1 second flat. Travels the quarter mile and hopefully 6.7 seconds at 200 miles an hour. And it's sometimes though it's deceiving because your really fast passes don't feel like you went that fast. It's because you're on the motorcycle, you're one with it. You're not doing anything but tracking straight.
It's a very hard sport to be successful at because there's so many things that can go wrong in such a small amount of time. Horse jockeys to NFL football players, there's a certain level of competition that each one of us feels. But in a football game or a NASCAR race, there's so much more time to make up for your mistakes. And in drag racing, there's only 6 seconds for us. And so if I mess up on my reaction time, if I mess up on a shift, there goes the race. You have to be able to deal with that mentally.
In our attempt to see how 3 of the world's fastest racers can become even faster, we put them through a series of tests to see if changing from gas to electric could reduce race day complexity and get them off the line like never before. We set a baseline by collecting data on the reaction times electronically through an NHRA-approved timing system.
Reaction time is simply what it is, how fast you take to react or respond to something, a stimulus. If you touch a hot stove and your hand comes up, the reaction time of what it took for you to remove your hand from the stove. And it's the same thing for us on the starting line. I'm holding in the clutch and I have a throttle wide open, and when those yellow ambers flash, how quick can I release the clutch would be my reaction time.
We're based upon a 0 scale. From the time the green light comes on, that is 000 perfect. And if you're back in the 030, 040 range, that's kind of your average. But if you see double O's, somebody's really pushing on the starting line.
First up is the FXTR. It was born and raised on the drag strip and is the motorcycle that NHRA Pro Stock race bikes are based on. The riders got comfortable and put up some incredible numbers off the tree on this stock machine. Now for the fun part. Although our racers have put down more miles on 2 wheels than most riders out there, this is the first time they've ever been on an electric motorcycle.
Look forward to riding it. This is like the first genuine experience of actually hitting the throttle and taking off.
It's very different. I've never ridden a motorcycle I can't gear before, but oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
With no clutch or transmission to operate, plus a lack of noise and vibration from the motor, the riders are able to concentrate on the starting lights and their riding technique.
It's really strange reaching for a clutch lever though and it's not there. But the constant pull down the track is pretty phenomenal.
Keeping their bodies in the proper place when the bike launches forward is another challenge, but the rider's experience in the standard traction control system helps to keep the rear tire connected to the pavement. Plus, the elimination of gear changes means there was no pause in power delivery.
Can't believe how hard it pulls. I mean, it pulls harder than the FXDR. I mean, I literally had to get tucked because it was yanking my head back.
When riding the LiveWire, one of the things that really is unique is the fact that all those things you have going around you, meaning a running engine, the movement of the engine, are all gone. It's quiet. You're thinking and you can do just that. You can go up, roll to the starting line, and really focus.
After Angel, Eddie, and Andrew rode, we calculated the data times aboard the two bikes. How did electric stand up to gas? Does less complication mean more speed? And does this technology have the potential to change the sport of drag racing forever?
That instant torque feel, I mean, you snap the throttle to hit. It's easier to hit the light because you're not worried about sliding the clutch out. You can just hammer the throttle and the thing picks the front tire up, a little bit, and off it goes. And it's the strange feeling of hearing the tire and the racetrack instead of hearing the engine.
But it's good. It's a good strange. It's like you said, the uniqueness of, you don't have to think about anything. You crack the throttle. I mean, man, I feel so confident going up there trying to hit the tree. It's crazy.
So when it comes down to the data, it turns out the team's reaction time was nearly twice as fast while riding the electric-powered LiveWire compared to when they were riding the gas-combusting FXDR. What really caught the analytics team by surprise was how fast and consistently the electric motor was able to put traction down to the tarmac, which allowed the LiveWire to hit the 60-foot mark of the track 1/100th of a second faster, and 200th of a second faster to the 300-foot mark than its gas-powered opponent.
You have that instant power on demand feel. It's connected to your hand. There's nothing that's delayed. It's just, when you ask it to go, it says okay and how much.
I think it's something that feels like closer to our drag bike than like a regular motorcycle, because our drag bike pulls roughly 3 Gs leaving the starting line, and this thing here has that feeling, when you first hit it, because it's instant. Unlike a conventional motorcycle where you're releasing the clutch and you have to modulate it, this is just crack it and go.
Andrew was the quickest and most consistent of the group, as he was able to record multiple .047 reaction times. Andrew's best reaction on the LiveWire was just a blink of an eye off an average start on the Harley-Davidson Pro Stock race machine. We calculated the 6 best reaction times on both machines, and the consistency was only .027 seconds different on the LiveWire. We also found when riding the gas-powered FXDR, the difference in top 6 reaction times was .132, which is 5 times less consistent.
My reaction time on the FXDR was way slower because I was so unsure of what was going to happen and how to slip the clutch and how much gas to give it. And the LiveWire was so much easier. I was able to hold on better, get my feet set where I wanted, and just turn the throttle. And it was so much more fun because the fear of what was going to happen was gone. It was just fun.
They say less is more. And through the data, we found that proved to be true. With distractions like exhaust noise, the vibration from the engine, or the operation of the transmission removed, the riders focused on the task at hand and were able to record faster, more consistent reaction times on the LiveWire.
Riding the FXDR, you're worried about getting the RPM right, making sure the clutch feels right, and then when the tree comes down, you have to slide the clutch out and apply throttle to keep it hooked up and not overspin, but also accelerate as hard as you can. With the LiveWire, you're sitting there staged, all you're thinking about is, when the tree comes down, I just gotta gas it. It's a lot easier to focus. It's something that somebody could throw a leg over the motorcycle and pick up very easily. You just have to grab the throttle and go.
Advancements in technology have a tremendous influence in racing, and the best riders in the world always find a way to get the most performance from their equipment, even if it's something new and unfamiliar.
So one of the things that I think makes the electric side of it very interesting is the way it can really bring in potentially new people.
I'm sure that there will be an electric vehicle race held at some point, and you're going to see what people have to offer with live wires and any other options all the way out there. But it's already proven that it can be fast and repeatable and an awesome joy to ride.
If the performance of the LiveWire and the skill of the riders in this test are an indicator of things to come, we're sure to see an unbeatable combination in the near future.